Muted.
Sorry, like Zoom crashed on me again. Cool. Yeah, sorry. Let's go through these examples. So, yeah, we were able to grab, Darth Vader's mask by first getting the thing in that's first index in the array and then calling mass on that object. So actually there's no for each on these. So we have seen the for each loop, right?
We can't, at least I can't see your screen at the moment if we're supposed to.
Cool. For each. So first of all, I'm talking all of these things that we're going to be talking about. For each, map, reduce, filter, sort, every, sum. These all are methods on arrays. That's the first key thing about these. All of these methods, let me make sure that this is true. Okay. All of these methods, you pass a function. Okay. They are going to be different. Different in what they return. And then they all except sort do not mutate the array that called it. So all of these methods except sort are going to leave the original array that called it unchanged. I'm pretty sure sort does. I'm pretty sure sort changes it, but we'll find out if I'm wrong. Okay, so for each, I just want to say what this does. It goes through each thing and performs. Does, yeah, I think someone's not on mute. Mute yourselves. Doesn't, or I should just say this, just returns undefined. Let me show you an example of this. We've seen it. So let's do our characters. Characters.for each. I'm just going to shorthand it as C. I should probably call that character, but I'm lazy. I'm going to call it C. Console.log C. See how that's going through each of my character and it's logging it. So if I wanted to log the name, it'd be like c.name. So I could go through each thing, log the name. Value. So when I say it returns undefined, console.log return value. It doesn't return anything. So let's do map. map goes through each thing and performs a function. And that function it performs, it collects the return of that function in a new array. And returns that array. What does that mean? So we're going to go through each thing in our array. We're going to perform a function. What that function returns, it's going to start collecting those items in a new array. So, and then it returns that array. So when you think about map, think about transforming. It is a way to change an array. So what I'm going to do, and just to show you, like I could just copy and paste this, characters.forEach. Let's do this as a map. And I'm not going to console.log. I'm going to return name, the character.name. So what map is going to do, it's going to go through each thing. It's going to perform this function on each thing. And then it's going to, whatever this function returns, in this case, it's the name, it's going to start creating a new array. And it's going to push that on each time to the new array. And then it's going to return, once the map is done, it's going to return that new array. Call this return value map. Return value each. So can anyone guess what this return value map is going to be?
Should be an array with all the names, right?
Yeah, it's going to be an array. Well, it's going to be an error. Oh, I didn't save this. And let's do this. Let's also throw in a log. So we can see this return of map. Return of for each. Console.lof. Console.lof is not the function. So return a for each, undefined, return a map. That's just strings. If I could return a object like name, maybe I just want to do like name, and I could add something like I don't know, whatever name. Let's just do eye color. C.eye color. I could return an array of objects that have name and eye color. So you can return anything. It's just going to be a transformed version of that array. So that's what map does. Reduce. Okay, reduce is by far probably the most confusing. And it's also probably the one you can, it's definitely the one you can do the most with, because you can actually do all of these methods with the reduce method. But, okay, I'm just going to explain this and then show it. This one's kind of hard to explain. So reduce, once again, it goes through each thing and performs a function. This function has two params. it is, the return value of the previous function and the current item. And then once this is done, it returns the final return of function. So sometimes this return value of the previous thing, you might hear this be called like the accumulator, because we're like accumulating a value. So that's kind of like a say what, like that's a little confusing. For this one, let's just start out with let's come up with a numbers array. Two, three, four, five, six. Okay. So we did an operation where, we wanted to find the sum of an array of numbers. This is actually a perfect use case for reduce. So I do nums dot reduce. Give it my function. Now this one takes this is the return value of the function that I'm defining right now, and then the thing, which in this case would be a number. And it returns, so what this function return is going to be the accumulator in the next function. So how I could do a sum is I could just, hey, return the accumulator from the last return of this function and add the number to it. And then as a second argument to the reduce, I can give it the starting value of the accumulator. Because since it's returning the thing from the function, like, well, what do I start this off as? I need it to start it off as something. So I can add that as a second argument to the reduce function. And there we go. There's my sum, 20. Something that can sometimes help with this is console.logs. If you're like kind of confused about what the hell is going on, throw in some console.logs. Okay. So here's my array. It's got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My accumulator is 0 because I'm saying, hey, start the accumulator off as 0. This num parameter is 2 because that's the first thing in my array. Okay, so we return accumulator plus number. That's 2. So the next time when we go into this, when we go to the next thing, my accumulator is going to be 2, and then my number is 3. Okay, so we return those two added together, which becomes my new accumulator. So then we go 5 plus 4. And then, we finally, when this finally returns, it's going to return that last thing, which is going to be 14 plus 6, which is our sum, 20. This one is really powerful because like the type it can return is any type. It can return any type of data. It can return an array. It can return a number. It can return an object. Map returns that array. So map can like transform stuff, but map is always going to return an array, which is fine. But since reduce can return anything, it kind of makes it kind of powerful because it can return any type of data. Map just returns in an array. filter. Let's do filter. I can almost just copy a lot of this because filters close to map. So when we think about filter, this is like if we want to remove items. So if you want to remove items from an array, you're going to use the filter method. So this one is going to, once again, go through each thing and perform a function. So here's the kicker. If that function turns true, it keeps the item in the new, or I should say it like technically pushes the item in the new array. It returns false. It doesn't. And this returns that new array. That new, I should say, filtered array. All right. So let's go through, we can maybe just do one of these that's on here. Like, go get characters with mass greater than 100. Okay, so let, over 100 equals characters.filter. Give it a function where we, can do stuff with the character. And this one I can just return character dot, is it mass greater or equal to 100. This is going to be a Boolean, right? That's going to be evaluate to true or false. So if this evaluates to true, we're going to keep that in that new array. If it's false, then we filter it out. And then we store that, and then this filter function returns that, so we can store that to this variable console.log over 100.
Sorry, will you repeat that, just that last thing you said about if it's true, it keeps it where?
So what's going on behind the scenes is this filter is creating a new array. So it's going through each thing and it's running this function on each thing. If this function returns true, it's going to keep that thing in the new array. If it returns false, it doesn't. So if I look at my characters, like Darth Vader is the only one with a mass over 100. So when I run the filter, let me do a log so it's a little more clear. Reduce. Turn a filter. So when I run that filter method, it returns that array of all the things that match that condition. And notice right here, console.log. If I log characters, my characters array is unchanged. So all of these methods are not changing this original array, which is good, because how am I, like, if I change this original array, like I couldn't be continually doing these functions on this array. So it's nice that characters is not changing. Cool. So that's the filter method. Let's do the sort. Actually, let's okay, let's do the sort, and then actually I want to do the find really quick, because there's also the find method that is very similar to the filter method. So the key difference between find and filter is find only finds one thing, one match. So, and just to demonstrate this, let's make Luke Skywalker like 177 pounds. So now or Anakin or whatever his name is. Let's have my array. So now, sorry, let me just show this. So now that I just want to show the filter method, see it can return multiple people, because multiple people are over 100. The find is going to be the exact same. Or it's going to kind of behave the same, where we pass it a function that returns true or false. But find is going to find one match, the first. So what it returns is it returns the first match it finds. And if it doesn't find a match, it returns undefined. So let's call this variable first over 100, because that's really, if I were naming these, like kind of what, so this would be all over 100, because that's what filter is going to do. It's going to give me all of them over 100. The find is just going to give me the first one over 100. And see how the return to find is just returning an object. It's just going to return that first thing. Whereas filter returns me an array of the things. So I kind of wanted to show you the find, just because they do the exact same thing, just different how they return. Cool. Every and some, I'm going to skip over these for now. You can maybe look at those later as like bonus. I'll say these are bonuses for now. Let's do a look at sort. Just because, sorting is a common thing we like to do. And honestly, I'm having a brain freeze. I can't remember if sort changes the array or not. So I kind of want to figure out. So let's do sort. Now, let me show you this. Let's say I have an array node. I'm going to step into node and just have an array of numbers, like let nums equal 1, 4, 2, whatever, something. I can call nums dot sort. And that sorts the array. That changes that in place too. So that sorts it and changes it. But let me ask you a question. And you can actually do this with this array of strings. So I could do like let characters equal B, A, C. We call sort on that. And it sorts that. Cool. So why can't I just call sort on this array of objects?
Because then wouldn't it put like the names in alphabetical order the heights according to number, just all in a list, so you wouldn't know who is where and who has what?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, let's not even think about code. If I gave you this list of characters, like these were on cards or something, and I told you to sort them, what would be your question?
Sorting by what?
How? Yeah.
How do you want me to sort them? So with objects and more and things, we can actually pass a function to tell JavaScript how to sort it. Because yeah, there's a lot of different ways we could sort this. So let's say we want to sort by like height. So we could do like a characters dot sort. And what I pass here is a function telling it how to compare two things. And you'll usually see it be like A and B, because A and B are like just placeholders for like two of the things in the array. And I always get this reversed, but the key thing here is if this function returns -1, it means A is less than B. If the function returns 0, it means they're equal. And if it returns greater than 1, it means that B is less than A, or I might have said that reverse. But I'm telling it how to compare A and B by giving it either a negative number, 0, or a positive number. So I could do something like this. I could just actually return. If it's a number, I can do this little trick. So I can go ahead and take like the height and minus B dot height. Because if the heights are the same, that's going to be 0. If A is greater than, the A height is greater than B height, that's going to return a positive number. If it's less than the B height, it's going to return a negative number. And I'm pretty sure this mutates it, but I'm going to check. Node sandbox.js. Oh no, it's node homework2.js. So I did by height. So Darth Vader's at the last 202. Then we have 188, 172, 150. Oh, that's the return to find. So yeah, so that's working. And it does actually, see, I'm not setting this to a variable, so this changes the array, but it's sorting it by height from shortest to tallest.
And that was done with the A height minus B height.
Yeah, if I do B minus A height, if I switch those,
It would be Darth Vader at the top.
that should be Darth Vader at the top. So it switches the order.
Okay. So you don't actually define A and B, you just leave A and B, and the system knows you're just referring to two items in there.
Yeah, A and B are
Okay.
like, they're just two of your things in the array. Like,
Yeah, well, I was doing homework the other night, and I came across that this online, and I assumed that you had to fill in A and B. So when I was writing the code trying to figure it out, it never worked. So that's good.
yeah. So that's sort. But yeah, you might have a function that looks like, if A dot, trying to think of one. We have, I don't know. Well, let's just leave it at that, sorting numbers. Okay, well, let's do this one. Let's sort by gender. That's kind of a weird one. Sort by name. I think we could still do, well, actually, we can't minus names. Let's sort by a name. Does that do it? I don't think you can subtract names. Yeah, so if it's not a number, I can't just like subtract the name. So what I could do is I could do like an A dot name is less than b dot name, because I can compare numbers like that or letters alphabetically and return -1. I can do like an if a dot name is greater than b dot name. So this is where we're returning the, like it's sorting based off of the number this is returning. Return 1. So if they're not equal then or greater to, that means they're like the same name. So then that one I would just return 0. And then, yeah, it looks like we're going descending. So if I wanted to do these ascending, I could just swap those values from negative to positive. So then we start with A, E, L, L. And then those are sorted alphabetically by name.
So it's only comparing the
Okay.
first letter of each name.
What?
It's only comparing the first letter of each name.
Yeah.
No, it's comparing the whole string
Oh, is it?
because, yeah, L, E, L, U, those are sorted.
Oh, I guess so. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it actually goes through the whole name and puts it where it is. So when you, if you have like a greater list of names, then it's actually gonna continue to work and put them actually where they need to be. That's
Yeah,
good.
because when you're comparing like AAAB is like that's alphabetically first. Like so it is comparing the whole string.
Cool. Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, I think that is good for now. That should give you enough to get started with these. I'm gonna, when we get back from project time, I'm also gonna like give you some articles that really go through these. I think with like, especially like these specific ones, like for each map filter, this is something, you know, I really think you try these out, you code them, and then you go go reread like a resource or rewatch this video or find something on, like I'll throw you some Medium articles, like it's like a 10-minute read on like map. And then you see it like in a different example, a different context, and like some of those missing pieces start to fill in as you go through it. But yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, we've covered a lot in 3 days, so this is how this course goes. Cool. Yeah, let's go. I need to hop onto a meeting. Let's take lunch.
Hey, James,
Yeah.
real quick, before everyone goes, yeah, the last 2 days might be rough, but today isn't a special day because it is Stephen Krass's birthday. So we just want to wish him a happy birthday from everyone here. Happy birthday, Stephen.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everybody.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Put you on blast.
Thank you.
I'm glad my birthday is not during this course.
Yeah, happy birthday with the intense lecture.
Yeah. I got some snow though, so I'm happy.
Awesome.
You got a nice 3-day week coming up. It's gonna be great. You're gonna, it's all gonna sink in, or like 60-70% of it. But cool. All of this stuff we're gonna be using like we're gonna be using all this stuff throughout the course. So you'll get lots of practice with it. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna hop off, but y'all have a good lunch. Let's come back. Let's call it 2:10.
Okay.
Cool. Have a good one, everyone.